When Daniel Tolan walked across the stage with the Montrose Class of 1974, he had no way of knowing just how far life would carry him. What began in a small Michigan town would unfold into 40 extraordinary years of medical service, most of them spent in places where resources were scarce, needs were great, and compassion mattered more than anything. Over 4 decades, he cared for thousands, strengthened community health systems, and helped build programs that changed the trajectory of tuberculosis treatment, HIV/AIDS care, disability services, and medical education across East Africa. At Tenwek Hospital, his leadership helped shape it into one of the region's premier teaching institutions. But Daniel's journey started long before Montrose. At just 2 years old, he boarded a ship in New Orleans with his parents and his older brother David, bound for Bolivia. The family spent nearly 5 years there as his parents partnered with the National Church and taught in a rural Bible school. Those early years left a permanent mark, planting in him a love of adventure, a curiosity about the world, and a deep, lifelong compassion for people living in the developing world. In 1963, the Tolans returned to the United States, settling first in Ohio. A few years later, they moved to Montrose, Michigan. Daniel entered 4th grade, and his father pastored a church on M57 before both parents became beloved 5th grade teachers, shaping generations of students until they retired. 2 daughters came along later, Deborah and Dorcas. Growing up, he was like most kids, more interested in sports and friends than imagining any grand future. In high school, Daniel played trombone in the marching and concert bands, was on basketball and baseball teams, and his grades inducted him into the National Honor Society. Ironically, he was a pastor's kid who claimed to be an atheist. When he attended Marian College, now Indiana Wesleyan University, soccer and girls took priority over academics. He went from all A's in Montrose to C's and nearly dropped out after 1 year. Only his mother's urging convinced him to return for 1 more semester. That decision changed everything. During his sophomore year, a young woman named Cindy transferred to Marian. 1 date, and he wasn't interested in anyone else. Through Cindy, 2 influential professors, and his soccer coach, his life began to shift. He became a follower of Jesus, found direction, and discovered the kind of man he wanted to be. On the field, he was a varsity goalkeeper and became co-captain, MVP, in all-conference his senior year. But the turning point, the moment that set the course for everything that followed, came in the summer of 1977. He and Cindy traveled to Kenya, Africa, to be married, where Cindy grew up. Her father, Dr. Story, was the founding doctor at Tenwek Hospital in 1959. Daniel helped build an addition to the tuberculosis ward, and in the evenings followed Dr. Story around the hospital. In those weeks, something long buried came alive again. As a child, he had dreamed of becoming a doctor, but seasoned freshman biology had crushed that dream. Now, standing in the wards of Tenwek, watching medicine practice with compassion and courage, that dream returned with force. It was the beginning of a journey he never could have imagined. Daniel and Cindy both graduated with honors from IWU in 1978. Daniel with a double major in mathematics and business administration, and Cindy with a bachelor's in nursing. With the intent of serving in medical missions in Kenya, Daniel decided to go to medical school, but he did not have the requisite science courses to do so. The Tolans moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where he completed pre-medicine coursework at the University of Michigan and remains a Wolverine to this day. Daniel and Cindy and their first child, Rachel, moved to Winston-Salem, North Carolina in August 1981 for medical school at Wake Forest University. Following graduation in 1985, Daniel did his internship in general surgery at Providence Hospital in Michigan, followed by family practice residency in Charlotte, North Carolina. We don't imagine Daniel slept much after his son, Silas, was born during medical school, and another daughter, Sarah Beth, during residency. The family of 5 left for Tenwek Hospital in Kenya in December 1989, after Daniel completed his residency. One of the earliest threads in this journey was a young boy named Kiplingat. He was in the brutal early phase of tuberculosis treatment. 2 months of daily injections before 18 months of oral medication. The cost was small by Western standards, but for families with several sick members, even $20 can mean selling land or livestock. Fear and cost kept many away. The TB ward was overcrowded, 50 patients and 16 beds. When Tolan was asked to take over the tuberculosis program, his first thought was painfully honest. With all that sputum flying around, he was going to die of TB. And to think he helped build the tuberculosis ward the summer he was married in Kenya. But he still tests negative for TB to this day, perhaps helped by his habit of making rounds outside in the sunlight. Back to the story of Kiplingat, who had grown to adore Tolan, and the feelings were quite mutual. During rounds, the boy would tug the hair on Daniel's arm and rub his pale skin, once asking what disease had caused all his skin to fall off. Then one morning, Tolan was told Kiplingat was gone. Daniel asked the hospital driver to take him to Kiplingat's home, about 2 hours away. When Kiplingat's father, terrified of hospital bills, saw the Land Rover approaching, he told Kiplingat to hide in the cornfield with some valuables. The family had once been forced to sell half their garden to pay for the treatment at another hospital. When the truth came out, Tolan explained Tenwek had a fund for needy patients. 7 family members were found to have TB, and all were treated. Near the end of the treatment, the father brought Tolan a gift of a small banana tree. "Plant it in a moist place," he said, "and it will spread." Today, a grove stands where he planted it, a living reminder that love, once planted, grows far beyond its beginnings. That same spirit shaped the TB program itself. Tolan didn't do it alone. He found 3 capable Kenyan colleagues, trusted them, and together they built something new. Treatment was redesigned. Once diagnosed patients were given medicine and supplies for 2 months of injections. Having been taught the importance of uninterrupted treatment, over 95% were compliant and walking to the nearest clinic for daily injections. Tenwek had the best compliance in the country. And no longer fearing hospitalization costs, the number of those seeking care rose from 150 to nearly 800 per year. A small motorcycle allowed Joseph, the program manager, to visit the distant clinics. Later, when the Dutch government introduced oral medications for TB treatment in Kenya, it was Joseph, not Tolan, who presented Tenwek's amazing record to the national TB director. Tenwek became the first hospital outside the University of Nairobi to receive approval to use these medications. Tolan's work extended far beyond tuberculosis. Samson, a young Maasai tracker exposed to HIV in the early 1990s, became his friend and brother. At a time when little was known and fear was high, a small church that met under a thorn tree visited Samson twice a week, praying, singing, bathing his wounds, planting flowers outside his hut. "Each week I have a new hope for another flower I can see," Samson said. Daniel held Samson as he took his last breath. Years later, when Dr. Tolan stood before the U.S. Presidential Commission on HIV/AIDS, he saw Samson in his mind and pleaded for mission hospitals across Africa to be included in medication and prevention programs. They were, and millions of lives have since been spared. There were moments that revealed the depth of desperation and the courage required to meet it. In 2002, Tolan flew with a team to a child's clinic in a northern refugee camp. Daniel relates, "It was dangerous, and armed convoys had very exact times to meet for transport from airstrip to clinic and back. We were there to evaluate crippled children for potential corrective surgery. When the afternoon convoy arrived, We had seen less than 1/3 of the children. Desperate families blocked our exit door. We were told to climb out the back window and run, but our team leader refused. Instead, he stepped outside and promised we would return every month until every child was seen. We did, and so many were helped. There were moments of danger, too. In 1997, Tolan was carjacked at gunpoint, tied to a tree in the forest, and left in the dark. A month later, driving past the same spot, he saw a young boy walking alone. Flashbacks and a racing heart made him resist the nudge to stop, but 5 miles later, Daniel turned around. The boy's name was James. His father had died. His mother sold candy on the street, and he was being sent home from school for unpaid fees. "I want to be a doctor," James said. They helped him through school, including teacher training college. James named his first daughter Cindy after Tolan's wife, and his son's name? Tolan. Today, James is a high school teacher, a pastor, and a leader in his community. He just started a master's degree in school administration this past April. And there was teaching. First visiting students, then Kenyan nurses, then young doctors. When in 1995 the hospital board was discussing whether foreign medical staff were still needed, Tolan saw something different. The opportunity for Tenwek to become a major teaching hospital in Africa. The hospital board accepted his proposal. They had no idea how to begin, but they tried. In addition, Dr. Tolan chaired a nationwide effort for teaching young Kenyan doctors at rural mission hospitals. Today, more than 100 trainees fill programs across multiple specialties at Tenwek Hospital. And a $60 million cardiothoracic center stands as a testament to what vision, persistence, and faith can build. Kenya is not the only focus for the Tolans. During the last 20 years, Dr. Tolan has helped train over 600 new medical personnel for international healthcare work, now serving in many countries around the world. In addition, each year Daniel and Cindy lead life-changing trips for college students to Kenya. Many of these students are now working in various impoverished areas of our own country and around the world. Beyond the years of service and leadership, there is the man Daniel is today. A husband, a father, and grandfather who finds joy in the simple, beautiful things. 3 of their 4 children and 10 grandchildren live within 10 minutes of him and Cindy. Their youngest lives in Portland with 4 more little ones. They joke that they're now on a first-name basis with every pilot and flight attendant who flies to Portland. His hobbies include Africa camping safaris, building, woodworking, biking, fishing, and anything with the ocean. Today, Dr. Tolan still works as an emergency room physician in beautiful East Tennessee, where he lives with his wife Cindy in Johnson City. He claims he's still a country boy with the deep gratitude of a man who has lived a full and remarkable life, a life shaped with compassion, courage, and a steadfast commitment to serving others. With a distinguished medical career since 1985, Dr. Daniel Tolan has established himself as a respected family practice specialist. With 40 years of experience, he is known for his comprehensive approach to patient care and dedication to medical excellence. Dr. Tolan has served as the Director of Tuberculosis Program, Director of Rural Medical Clinics, Medical Chief of Staff, Tenwek Hospital Board of Directors, Physician in charge of Orthopedic Services, Associate Director for Global Health Services, and a missionary physician with World Gospel Mission from 1989 to 2025. He's a gifted communicator, speaker, and motivator who's received numerous professional awards, served as the keynote speaker at conferences, and has raised millions of dollars for international health care. His legacy reaches from Montrose to 8,000 miles away to Kenya, Africa, and beyond. A testament to what can happen when a life is lived with purpose and heart. Please welcome Dr. Daniel Tolan with the Special Achievement Award into the Montrose Sports and Community Hall of Fame.